time to get fluent and chill with Anthony K of Sports Fluent and Jermaine J. Dub of Chilltown Hoops. All right, welcome everybody. You're back with Fluent and Chill. I'm Anthony K from Sports Fluent. He's J. Dub from Chilltown Hoops. Jay, how you doing, man?
Yo, what's going on, guys? Here to talk some basketball. Let's get to it.
Finals, game 2. And I'm going to start right off with saying we both thought this game was going to be closer. We both thought, hey, Phoenix can't keep doing what they did in game 1. And they did and they didn't. So let's, as we always do, let's start with the winners. So let's start with the Phoenix Suns. So let's start with what I think we talked about Chris Paul. Could Chris Paul do what he did in game 1? Mm-hmm. Now he had 32 points, this time 23, but he shot the ball more than I thought. 10 of 20, but still efficient. 3 for 5 from 3, 8 assists. What did you see from Chris Paul?
Well, the thing that I saw the most was they played right into his hands, but it worked for Milwaukee defensively. This is what we're doing. They're playing drop coverage. Now, what that means is instead of chasing Chris Paul off the three-point line, they're going underneath the screen and they're not switching, right? Jrue Holiday's getting around the screen. They're not switching. Chris Paul is beating him to his mid-range spot, and that's where he's shooting. Now, once he gets that going, now that opens up going to the basket, and that's what he was doing yesterday. Because what's going to happen is that we're going to have to live with something. So if we got Chris Paul 24 feet away from the basket and we're pushing him or we're switching with a 5-man, now we got 5-on-4 because Brook Lopez can't guard Chris Paul that far away from the basket. You don't want Giannis all the way that far away from the basket because that's taken away from my rim protector and that's taken away from my defense. So Chris Paul is going to attack that. Now it's 5-on-4. So we're going to have to live with something. All right, Chris Paul shot 3 for 5 with the long ball yesterday. You know what? We'll live with that. We will absolutely live with that. The difference was Book was way more efficient yesterday. Not only was Book way more efficient, Bridges with the 27 that he came with, that was the difference in the game because that's PJ's production. PJ's got to match, not in terms of points, but PJ has to match what Bridges does. Bridges can't completely dominate him. And that's exactly what happened. And that was the difference in the game. 94 points from Book, Bridges, Paul, and Ayton.
And Ayton, listen, Ayton, for all the intangible stuff that he still did well, by his standards, after his 2020 game, right, had 10 and 11, and shot 4 for 10. So not very efficient for a guy playing inside, but he did so many other things. Mm-hmm. And it was important, right? You and I talked about game 1. What did we say? Jay Crowder. He can't go 0-4 again. Mm-hmm. And he didn't. He went 4 for 8, also 3 for 5 from 3, and 11 points. If you get 11, so it's funny how I look at Ayton and I think, 10 and 11, right? I need more from him. But I see Crowder doing 10 and 11. I'm like, that's a good thing, right? That's a good sign.
And 2 blocks, too. Don't leave that out. I'm sorry.
Right. Going. Yeah. No. It's important because that's what he's there for is his defense. Absolutely. Right. So anytime you can get some offense from those types of guys, you're going to be in good shape. And they were. Here's the interesting thing. You brought up Bridges. Bridges, offensively, outplayed Middleton. Can you win a game if the at best he's the 4th option, right? Mm-hmm. On the Suns? If he's outperforming your second option on the Bucks, you're in trouble.
Well, here's the problem that we had yesterday. The problem that we had is I'm a firm believer. You win the rebound battle and you win the turnover battle, you'll always have a chance. Milwaukee won the rebound battle. They had 18 offensive rebounds to Phoenix's 11. That's 18 second chance opportunities to score. The problem that we're having, let's take Bridges off the table for a second. The problem that we're having is our backcourt. Middleton and Jrue Holiday got outscored 54-28. That's not going to get it done. It's not. They go 5 for 24 in the first half. So the difference here in this series right now is conversion. These guys are getting opportunities, conversion and production. It's not about playing hard. It's not about doing the dirty work because they're doing all of those things. They won the rebound battle. They won the turnover battle. They're playing well in transition. The problem is that my backcourt isn't converting. And I think PJ Tucker He's got to do a better job offensively to make Chris Paul work, because he sits in the corner and Chris Paul is standing at the elbow with his hands on his short,
getting a
just
nice
hanging
rest.
out.
Yeah.
He's just hanging out. So he's got to do a better job at that. That was the difference, because Connaughton came off the bench, and I mean, he had 14 points. That was solid. I'm still trying to make sense of what Coach Bud's rotation is, because I think Monty Williams is doing a great job where he shortens his rotation and then elongates it, and he seems to keep Coach Bud off balance. Why isn't Bobby Portis in the rotation consistent?
I feel like, I don't want to say it's an overstretch to say he's getting out coached, but I feel like you probably hit the nail on the head. Monty's pushing all the right buttons.
That's exactly what he's doing.
And the Bucks are having trouble adapting and kind of countering that. You brought up the backcourt. They shot a combined 12 of 37. You can't have that. To your point of PJ Tucker, of course, he needs to move, right? He needs to make, even though we know he's not going to be their number one offensive threat, but if at least he's moving, cutting, getting Paul to cut through some screens, right? Listen, he's still 36 years old. You make him move around a lot, it's going to wear him a little bit. And whatever advantage you can get, you know, the better.
Absolutely.
So game 2 was, like I said, a surprise. This is the part that I also found interesting. At one point in the first half, they pulled up a stat, and you wanted the Bucks to do this, but the Bucks had outscored the Suns 20-0 in the paint. And I like that, because I you know that's where the Bucks need to do to be successful against this team. And then I did another little quick analysis. If you look at the first, third, and fourth quarter, would it surprise you if I told you the Bucks outscored the Suns by like 4 or 5 points if you just take those 3 quarters?
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
What happened in that? So really it was the second quarter that was the Bucks' downfall. What do you think happened there? What did you see in that second quarter that allowed the Suns to really pull away?
Well, the problem that we having is the lulls in Milwaukee's offense. And that's with Middleton. That's with Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday was playing his game yesterday. He only took 3 threes. He has a tendency to fall in love with the long ball, because that's the way Milwaukee plays. He only took 3 of them yesterday. A lot of the stuff that he had was going to the basket. The production was missing layups. He was missing a lot of layups, missing a lot of wide open shots. That was the difference.
There was a stretch where I think he missed 2-3 left-handed layups in a row, like in a row, right after the other. And I thought, that's a bad sign, right?
Absolutely, especially in transition, because when you get shots like that, especially open shots are at a premium in the finals. Just so you know, open shots are not something that, this isn't January or February. Open shots are at a premium. So when you get open shots, you have to take advantage of them, and that's been the difference in what these guys have been doing. That's why Phoenix has been playing so well, because they're taking advantage of the open shots that they get. I mean, Book looks really good, because the tough shots that he makes, when he gets open shots, he's converting on those. Milwaukee is not, because Middleton, he's still getting the same shots now that he was getting against Atlanta, against Brooklyn. He's getting those same shots he got in game 1. There just wasn't any conversion yesterday. And in order for them to have a chance in this series, he has to convert on those shots. He has to.
So let's talk about the 2 guys, right? Let's talk about Giannis and Book. Mm-hmm. So Booker had, we said in game 1, the defense was bothering him. That was the reason for his less than efficient day. But yet yesterday, 12 of 25, 7 of 12, goes for 31, 6 and 5. Mm-hmm. Was he still getting the tough shots and they were dropping? Or did you see something tweak where he was getting a little bit more? Because for me, it looked like he was still they were contested shots. He was just making them.
That's all it was. Yesterday in particular, Drew Holiday made it tough on him. Drew Holiday made it tough on Chris Paul. But in particular, Book got a lot of his stuff in transition, because Phoenix plays fast. I mean, he shot 12 threes. 7 of them went down. And if I'm not mistaken, I think 4 of them were in transition, and he was wide open. Yeah. So to make wide open shots, especially in transition, is big. His mid-range game was efficient yesterday, even though they were tough looks. He looked like he was calmer than he was in game 1. It looked like he got the jitters out and he calmed himself down a little bit.
Now hold on. I said he might have had game 1 jitters, and you told me he didn't. So
I wasn't convinced
maybe
that
he
he
did,
did.
maybe a little
I
bit, a
wasn't.
little bit.
He did look calmer yesterday. That's a
Yeah.
fact, Anthony. He did.
Yeah.
He looked a lot calmer yesterday than he did in game one. In game two, he just looked more loose. He looked looser than he did in game one. And like I said, those shots that he was getting, they were tough shots, but he just looked calmer.
It's I know it's cliche to say this, right? But it felt like from game one to game two, the finals started to slow down a little bit for him, right? He understood now, hey, these are my spots. And I think he understood, hey, this is the defense they're going to play on me. They're going to be tight. My shots are going to be contested. I can't let it bother me. I just need to play my game because I can make those shots. He knows he can make those shots.
And it helps when you got Chris Paul in your ear telling you when he's coming for you, where he's coming for you, and how he's coming for you. That helps tremendously because it can, and a floor leader that lets you know that he's going to keep you calm.
It's that's the intangible thing that, listen, I haven't always spoken very highly of Chris Paul over like in the all-time greatness conversation.
Me neither.
But when you see what he has done with these young guys, pulling them aside, having those conversations, when you hear Ayton saying, hey, he has helped me so much by, getting in my ear, talking to me, that stuff you can't measure, but it's huge, huge to have a player like that, around those young guys. Giannis had a game. He doesn't look hurt. Although every time he went down, you did see him grab the knee a little bit. So he's still hurting, but he's playing through it. But hey, 42, 12 rebounds, 1 of 5 from 3, a little worrisome, but 15 to 22 from the field. There was a couple of stretches there, especially in the fourth, where it just looked like, hey, I'm taking over. And it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing too, because he needs those other guys. He needs Middleton. He needs Holiday, PJ Tucker. He needs those guys to hit shots. So I get the mentality of, hey, I need to take over and keep us in it, and he did. But does it worry you, or are you like, hey, I like that I saw that out of him?
I love that I saw that out of him, but his offense is predicated on those guys making shots because it opens up the lane.
Right.
So when he's playing his game the way he's playing his game, that's because those guys are efficient and those guys are producing. When those guys aren't doing that, now the lane is packed and he can't really do as much as he would like. He was going downhill yesterday. I think that they wasted a game from him. I think that was a wasted effort because that 42, he's going to have to do that again at some point. He's going to have to do that again at some point or something close to that in order for them to have a chance to win. But I can't reiterate this enough, Anthony, that I got to get better production from my backcourt. These guys got to play better because right now, Phoenix looks like the better team. They just do.
Oh, yeah. They look like yes, listen, I know once it goes back to Milwaukee, it's going to change. I know that for a fact. But they look like a team that's just going to sweep through these guys.
They just look like the better team.
And it's interesting that what you mentioned that about in the paint. I like the fact that he was going, driving downhill, like you said. But the difference was, you notice it was stop halfway through the paint and put up this little kind of jumper floater versus when those guys are hitting their threes, that's a dunk. And everyone says, I fight about this all the time where, a jumper in the paint is the same 2 points as a dunk. And I'm like, yes, it's the same amount of points, but it's a different mentality. It's a different, the team feels different when it's dunking that ball off someone versus shooting a little floater. Yeah, it's the same 2 points, but you see the mentality of the team changing because now they know, hey, these guys have to spread out to cover these guys who are hitting their outside shots. So now Giannis is getting dunks. And if they collapse in on him, well, we know these guys are going to hit their outside shots, and now they're in trouble. So that's what I saw was that was missing. So we know now we go back to Milwaukee. I think we're going to see a much better effort from Milwaukee. I will bet right off the bat Milwaukee wins game 3. What do they need to do? What do they need to adjust? Obviously, the easy answer is they need to make their shots. But what else do you see that they need to change, if anything else, to get game 3?
It's really not anything, Anthony, to be honest with you. That's it in a nutshell. They win the dirty work battle. They win the rebound battle. They win the turnover battle. They're good in transition. Even though they're giving up the points that they're giving up, Phoenix is a fast team. That's what they're doing. The problem that we're having is that we need to match their production offensively, and we're not getting that. And that's the difference in this series. When you make those guys, first of all, if I'm missing shots, well, that gives you, as a defender, an opportunity to relax, especially if I've missed 2 or 3. Well, you start to think as a defender, I'm going to give him that shot because his confidence might be lagging. And with a guy like Drew Holiday, who wasn't sharp yesterday at all, I can relax a little more on defense as opposed to him coming out the gate going 6 for 9. Well, I can't really relax that much because now, and on top of that, that's taken away from my offense because I got to focus way more on defense against him as opposed to him coming out 3 for 11. Now I can focus more on what I'm doing offensively, and it's a mental thing. So in the end, everything that they're doing and everything that Milwaukee is doing in terms of defense and in terms of transition, this stuff works. We need more production from our backcourt. We need more production from our better players. That's the difference in this series.
Okay. I got Bucks winning game 3. Who you got?
I do
All right,
too.
So we both on the Bucks. And the next game, so then game 3 is going to be Sunday night. So then we'll be back on Monday with the game 3 recap, game 4 preview. I think we're coming back talking about 2-1 and what Phoenix needs to do to get game 4. So let's hope they make it a series.
Absolutely, to get the playoffs. The series doesn't start until a home team loses. So we're going to find out.
All right, Fluent and Chill, NBA Finals. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Take it light, but take it.